Hello and welcome to Housebound. This podcast are extracts from my, Eddie French's book where I visit different bands who are self-isolating under new international quarantine regulations. I approach each house with a hazmat suit and a dictaphone. I visited many different bands and musicians to see how they cope when isolated in the house that they all share. Today, Red Hot Chili Peppers. The city of Los Angeles boasts possibly the highest concentration of musical acts in North America. No band wishes you to know they're from LA more than the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The door of the Chili Peppers house is answered by a pair of legs. Upon closer inspection, the legs, upside down as they are, belong to bass player and former Marty McFly taunter Flea. He, walking on his hands and without clothes, welcomes me in and shows me to the living room. Many beanbags litter the floor, the curtains are drawn, and only modest sunlight shines through the gaps in the ancient material. I was immediately presented with a guitar and asked which era I was most familiar with. I explained that I wasn't there to audition to be the next guitarist, and that I was researching what life was like for bands during the international lockdown. Hiding his disappointment well, Flea said that everyone was coping and that a certain calm and zen-like tranquility had been afforded to the Chili Peppers house. Contrary to his claims, guitarist John Frusciante enters from the kitchen to announce that he was leaving the Red Hot Chili Peppers' social isolation to focus on his solo social isolation and wish the rest of the band well. The pregnant pause left in the air after his departure into his bedroom was punctured again by Flea's reassurance that he's been doing that upwards of 6 times a day. He once more gets to his hands and shows me around the house. In the laundry room, I'm introduced to drummer Chad Smith, folding the band's clothes. A pile of some 36 pairs of white tube socks are stacked neatly next to him. He wears a large plastic cone around his neck. This, I'm told, is to prevent him from biting the stitches on his arm. He got these while attempting to vault the fence after some neighbourhood kids told him that he was shit in Anchorman 2. Flea reassures him that he'll only need it on for another couple of days more, and then he can go back out into the yard. Flea knocks on a door with his heel, and we're beckoned to enter with a series of staccato syllables that loosely sound like the words "come in." Anthony Kiedis, the band's frontman, is sat at a desk reading a book about the history of LA's public sanitation systems. LA is like my heart, and so her sewer is like my butt. My spiritual, and more importantly, my actual butt, he explains. He's keen to use this downtime to create more music, hence this study. I congratulate him on the wise use of his time, observing that their greatest successes were a while back, and that even Stadium Arcadium was now 14 years old. 14. Well, I'm still going to see her, replied Kiedis. When pressed on what he meant, he insisted he misspoke and went back to his reading. Flea changed the subject, and said that he was going to do some art and maybe decorate his bike with a pattern. "Mike Patton!" screamed Anthony as he ran off from the room and began kicking holes in the walls. It was suggested that perhaps I'd better leave. I shook Flea's foot and walked away from the house, hearing distant protests from Kiedis and the faintest thumpings in the background. If you'd like to find out more about my time with the Chili Peppers, or indeed any of the bands, then please have a look for Housebound, Musicians on Lockdown, wherever illegal books can be bought. Thank you for listening to Housebound, Musicians on Lockdown. If you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. If you really enjoyed it, please consider going to www.ko-fi.com/Eddie French, EDDIEFRENCH, and donating a small amount of money in order that new projects may be made. If not, totally understand it. Not a problem. But do spread the word and let people know if you enjoyed it. Thank you ever so much. Take care. Bye-bye.